Well, what we can do, we can go. So basically the project is to collect the soul's restored DNA, to create some, you know what I basically see if I go ahead was when I try to see the project, like in real life, if we can call it that way, or in that project, there's a Plato they're building in Antarctica, and it's gonna arise from that ocean, Arctic Ocean, right? And it's gonna stay, and there's like palm trees, all this tropical everything growing on it with fruit and veggies and whatever it is. I don't even know what that's called, something we just don't know. And there they want to artificially plant the perfect race of people, but they want them to be semi-biological. They don't want them to be robotic, because the problem is they want to go back in time for themselves, for their own race, because right now they're like 82% robotic, those tow lines, and they won't go back to like 30% robotic, 28, something like this. And it can only be accomplished by using humans or souls in human bodies, because you have to combine the DNA of a body and a soul in order to create a non-dying human who would live forever and can basically adapt to ever-changing conditions that they're planning to implement on that particular Plato. And that Plato is connected to the regional Earth. So it's kind of like plus and minus of the battery. The plus would be regional Earth. The minus is their Earth created, and original Earth is taken as a prototype. And they want you, your soul, and your friends to live on it, on that Plato platform. The idea is to bring creators from above levels, like we usually go much higher than 4D, into 4D level and imprison them in the perfect bodies, never dying, never sick bodies of humans, which is attractive to a 3D mind, but is not attractive to as our souls at a high level when we don't have 3D bodies. You understand? It's something in between they figured out. The thing about Antarctica is a tipping point of all the major worlds and a big stargate of a lot of information capped in every molecule of what we call ice and water, crystalline structures. Therefore, it's a sacred place of new projects of DNA manipulation, going back to our original selves, because we, like people, were once like you, but we got infected by a virus created by grays. Grays are a big problem and a great threat to a lot of biological species on this universe and others. Grays they steal technology, they make it theirs, and they're much like the well-known country, you know, they are producers of everything and keepers of technology, of the patterns, how to use different spaceships. You have an imprint of that system in your world, you call Earth, because So basically, Greys are in charge of China, and they are the biggest producers of the world, just much like Greys are the biggest producers and keepers of information and technology advances that they secretly or openly steal from other well-developed races. And that's what happens. But they also want to target white, slimy-looking royal reptilians who are trying to take over Eastern Europe. And the tall whites want the European countries to be theirs for genetics because they're all mixed. Therefore, Eastern Europe is like a hub for bringing in more people and trying to attract more people to migrate there or immigrate there because they need more genetic material of different groups. Each country they touch by their technology that creates natural disasters or something happen physically, those people will come to Europe and then they'll be spread out in groups used for genetic research. And for that, those Platos with different replicas of different old worlds like Atlantis, for instance, to create people close to them but who would serve the tall whites, because Earth is in a perfect space, in the perfect place, in the perfectly designed artificial universe we are in, that they don't want to lose that opportunity. Therefore, they let the reptilians cut up and change up the current platform of the current world. So it's just gonna go the way they want, even though the awakened souls create a different way to escape it. And they know it, they just letting them go because it's a smaller percentage of people. It's around 20%. Around 20% of people know how to avoid any pre-encoded worlds that they're planning for the current society. So basically I just see kind of interesting the road on which people are walking, and it's surrounded by the energetic tunnel, and there is like about 19% of them walking past above the artificially designed electromagnetic field where they gonna it's something about the power of the races that are in control of each camp, which we call a country, and they are changing the rules of the game there, changing the power of each country. If one was in control of this, now it's not going to be in control of that. And it depends on what gold, precious metals, or crystals or nuclear power, it doesn't matter. It's going to be all redistributed to other countries. Change is dictated by the creators of the universes, and even artificial universes have to listen to the rules, otherwise they'll be destroyed. It's kind of like an antivirus, turns off your electromagnetic field, from which you basically get nutrition for your AI intelligence and for your AI programming, and therefore you don't exist anymore. But you know about all of this, and that's why right now you actually feel technology a lot around you, a lot, because you're aware of it at a subconscious level. And see, the thing is, when you took everything off of your friend, all of a sudden I see you beaming in the other light. It's like bright white lights with sparkles, because all of a sudden your mental emotional body got cleansed, because you're at ease. That feeling of being at ease gives you that clearness. It happens automatically. It's like a snap of your fingers. Your soul knows what to do, everything. The problem is you became some sort of like a co-creator with your friend, because you always do stuff together. And when there's a co-creator, if that person gets contaminated, that contamination spreads. It doesn't mean that goes inside your energy sphere. It can just create little dents and cracks outside of your energy sphere. That's what happened to you. Basically, it's like now you didn't have room to expand. Now you expanded. You became wider and bigger. But that Manuk is going. There are other species they have kind of like doing stuff with. They have gray skin. They look like people. The features of the face look like human. Their faces are more square looking, weird, brown, kind of like bright brown hair. I can figure out what they say about that planet is. Yunus, U-N-U-C. Unuk. It's a planet. Milky Way. Invisible to your eyes. Physical but invisible. It's behind some star. You cannot see it. Original humans were split up in groups and inserted different experimental strains of DNA. And that's how we've been all influenced. The programming is so heavy, it's almost impossible to feel yourself. And the heaviness of the artificially designed electromagnetic fields underneath us and above us to protect us from the feeling of the original Earth. That's usually what breaks down people, and they become getting sick because they're too sensitive. And when they're sensitive, and on top of that, the sensitivity brings the understanding and the search for the answers. So it creates a double effect, which they don't like. That's why they want a separate kind of bubble in Antarctica to create. They moved out of most labs, but they're creating something giant and different. An invisible world. I can get invisible because they're creating some. It's like a bubble that can become invisible and can be transported. It's like a moon, but the moon does not have these features. This one does. But yeah, the only solution to this is create your own micro world of content, understanding, and calmness, because there's going to be a lot of, your soul says there's going to be a lot of natural disasters happening, a lot. They're preparing a lot of them because they need to come up with new plans every time to shock us in a way. Just like the world was shocked by the war, the world was shocked by the pandemic. It's the same idea. So you're just showing me what you're gonna do in the future, and you like to fly to other worlds. There's this one world that it has like craters all over the planet, like volcano craters, and there's just the birds flying out of it. And you like fly with them, and they basically there's bird planets all over. They go to other birds, and they basically recreate by exchanging their thoughts of how they want their offsprings to be, and they create them. And when they become in big numbers, sometimes they go to other planets to show the species that birds exist and they're beautiful creatures. It's like basically a universal zoo. The problem is most beings do not understand this is an artificially designed universe. They use the prototype as they always do. So that's much like your phone. Your devices steal your thought ideas by scanning your mind and beaming them back to you in the shape of commercials, ideas, pictures, reminding you what you were thinking about today or yesterday. So that's what you said. But then you're like, build some sort of protection in the shape of two umbrellas. One is white, yours is blue. The bluest stars is yours because you love the sky. And the white is for your friend. It's a cleansing umbrella. It's just gonna shower her with cleansing shower all the time. And he has to remind her she cannot be like in other lives and other universes trustful, trusting others much. Because this whole world is built on lies and untrust. Unfortunately, you cannot, because they didn't want us to be able to be ourselves. And then you forget that you're a childlike creative being who trusts and enjoys the beauty around and the beauty of your own soul. But yeah, you're going back to your launching center where you're sitting down in some sort of, it's a 1, 2 people in front, one on the back, and next to it there's like a container. You can put things there to deliver to other planets. It's not a capsule, it's just kind of like a more like a bullet form type. You're flying on it. You know, the spaceships, it depends where it goes, but at some point it becomes like a water bubble, like a with crystalline structure that can change its shape to fit into dimensions of particular, almost of particular wormholes or particular tunnels. Pretty interesting. And it regains its shape. Because everything is like in space is distorted in a way for our perception. We think it's big, it's small, or we think it's small and it's big when you go in. There's a lot of spaceships that are composed of this round. It's kind of like a lot of circles put together. That are really watching the human forms behaving now as they throw different scenarios at us. Because different scenarios, thanks to AI and the thoughts scanned from us, create different timelines, but they're trying to bring all the timelines to one outcome, which they pre-designed, pre-encoded into the reality, into the fabric of the matrix. And we are just spinning in that big matrix, like on the carousel. The only way to get out is to jump off the horse you're sitting on the carousel, full speed, and not be afraid that it's full speed. It's just your soul says. Our philosophical different. We always also get ourselves into some sort of codependence. Maybe that's why I started talking about it when I saw you. Why do we do that? Because that's the way to pin you down, the way for you to put roots down so the roots can be used to get back at you, because the system doesn't like when you become smarter, then it wants you to be. So there's different multiple like barrels and containers on top connected to different spaceships, and those containers and barrels have souls. There are a lot of souls flying up these days. There are multiple reasons, but this world is in a way so part of the souls are totally biological, and they are just through their belief system in God they're taken, and the other part of the souls are semi-artificial, so they're taken by AI to go to, it's like a big factory, to get improved, get changed up. They change up the implants, and the implants right now are much smaller, and they move through the body. They can be inserted into the body through liquid forms of substance that they are researching right now. You know all about it, that's why I'm talking about it. You're aware. There's a Logos 28 project that you know that. Oh, this is a phelinoids we're preparing, because they're trying to figure out how to be dominant species. All phelinoid forms got together, they have meetings together. They're trying to figure out how to be a valuable member of the group here. You jokingly say Ashtar group. So that's about it. I didn't see anything around you. You kind of like told everybody to stay away from you. showed your friend how everything happens to her because she's curious. She has a very curious mind, but it's by design because that's how they use her for. She used to be curious enough to go to different worlds and absorb information, process it, and dissect it and put it in different shelves under different topics. And that's how they grab it and use it. She's like creating library instantly. That's why she strives for information in the physical body too, because physical body is a reflection of the energy bodies. So it's just reflecting her true self. So I think that's it. One sec, I just have to open my eyes for a second. I was like in this, there's a lot of metallic spaceships in a place we call Antarctica. The thing is, the Antarctica is being turned into a warm place due to different layers created on the ocean, and at some point they will come up. At what point they will know it? They need to create certain natural disasters in different areas first of the planet to shake it up, to change it up, to shift everything. That's why some regions experience extreme weather, others are very mild winters. Like, I can tell you, in Ukraine it's 0 degrees all the time, even though we used to have very harsh winters, you know. And the earthquakes I've seen with Ephesians, look what happened in Syria and Turkey. This morning I saw headlines. They had an earthquake. It's really great. And yesterday in my session was, I was in trance with my friend telepath. I saw that basically they, like your soul set, preset the goal for what they want. And then because we're in a computer system that constantly modifies the timelines, depending on the decision of the collective of human souls, it's a very little percentage of human souls here. They automatically modify the passageways to semi-lead to the desired result of theirs. And the reason why they play sometimes it looks like from in terms of like something we want and they do something we want because they're pressured to do it. They're pressured by us to pretend or at least act, semi-act and do something in our favor. The thing is there's a big egregore machine too, this esoteric one, and they catch people into this one too. When you're too much into energies, they'll get you by this through your dreams, through the visions they show you. Some people get addicted to being in trance too. So, I mean, my friend actually got addicted to it. She constantly wanted to do sessions every day, and it's just, another thing to be aware of. So, and that's what I'm saying this because your friend, it just comes from her that I'm big and powerful and I can storm into any world. That's her programming and get information. That's why she can see clearly everything because of that. They use her natural abilities by her DNA and they also enhanced it, those abilities. So that's the thing. And they basically try to attack everybody. I mean, I myself go through stretches of time, but they usually use my own relatives to do that to me. And once you know it, you understand it, you're being manipulated. What helps me in my head is to see the final idea that they're just manipulating me, and I am gonna do what I want to do at the end of my life anyway. It doesn't matter what's happening in the process. So that's probably my advice to everybody. Okay, let me turn this